Hey everybody, Brian Von VA here, back at it again. Today we're going to be talking about, yet again, a rule that your DM enforced that kind of ruined the fun for your entire group or your session. You know, like those little rules where if you don't have the stat for it, there's nothing you can do. Or just a spell rule that went a little bit off key. If you have one to share, make sure to leave in the comments below. But until then, what is a rule that your DM enforced that detracted from the fun of your game? Part 2. Ignoring background features. A campaign where we're constantly out on the road or in the wilderness, the Outlander's background feature of being able to forage for food would be pretty ideal, wouldn't it? Nah, fam. You have to roll survival with it, or you won't find anything. For another DM, a whole damn list of things that were BS, but the only thing that was a specific rule they enforced? Searching for traps. I searched the doorway, only to step on a trap to square on the other side of the door. Yay, fun! Critical miss tables. I was playing a monk. Monk makes more attacks per round on average before level 5 than any other class. So, my monk, trained in hand-to-hand combat, was 3 times more likely to accidentally punch his allies in the kidney than the wizard with negative stat modifiers using a staff. During one arc of a campaign I was in a few years ago, the DM had a strange mechanic he'd added to the game. Due to a magical block in the region, no one could cast any spells lower than 4th level. You could cast a 1st, 2nd, or 3rd level spell, but you had to upcast it at 4th level for it to work. The idea behind this was the enemy faction we were fighting was trying to suppress all magic, but their suppression wasn't strong enough yet to suppress spells higher than 3rd level. Now, this was an interesting idea, so I don't fault him for the concept. But I was playing a rogue bard multi-class, and we were level 10, so I had split them my character evenly. I had 5 levels in Scout Rogue and 5 levels of College of the Whispers Bard. I couldn't cast any of my spells for that entire arc of the campaign. Yeah, that was fun. We also had a paladin in the party at the time. They couldn't cast any spells either. It just completely nerfed my character concept right out of the gate, considering she'd only joined the party about 4 sessions before that arc started. To top it off, he shut down the campaign, ended the session before we got to the part of the arc where we figured out how to shut the thing down so we could actually cast our spells again. That was the last campaign that DM ran, and we've come to realize that he wasn't actually a very good DM all along. We just didn't know because he was the only DM we'd had. Spells can only be cast in a straight or diagonal, like 45-degree increments. It wasn't even a stated rule. Just kept telling me I couldn't hit all those people in a line. After a while, I learned the lesson. I was like, It felt super dopey as DM gave me a javelin of lightning, not that I even asked for a ranged option, and then kept telling me I couldn't hit people with it. Well, then what was the point? There's no logic here anymore. Rolling too well on a spellcraft check, magical skill also used for magic item crafting from Pathfinder, ding, I love it, made it work so well that it failed. Caused my character, who was trying to make a magical sprinkler for his garden, ended up being responsible for a Jack and the Beanstalk-sized plant, which dropped vegetation the size of wagons, which killed people on impact. I tried to talk him out of it, but that bastard had it happen over the most important town in the whole campaign. So, my character, who was simply attempting to make a sprinkler for his garden, ended up with a ruined reputation. Not to mention the DM turned it into a dungeon filled with monsters that came from who knows where. Specifically, my character rolled a nat 20 for a total of 32. And this DM, this DM was obsessed with rolling D100s to nullify the point of any skill checks rolled. So, I could craft an adamantine sword and easily pass the crafting check, but he would roll a 5 on a D100, making it a chipped -1 magical sword instead of a +2 or so weapon. A while back, a person I don't speak to anymore decided that for attacks, skill checks, and saving throws, we wouldn't be using proficiency anymore, and would be instead rolling XD6s in place of it, where X is our proficiency bonus. The same would be true for enemies we faced. Now, of course, the problem with this is our AC and spell save DC did not scale to keep up with this. An enemy would basically always hit, always save against spells, always pass their concentration checks and other saves. We would be forced to try and hit creatures with, 40 to 50 AC, save against spells with 40 to 50 DC, etc., and so on, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and of course, any weapon damage also benefiting from proficiency would also gain this. For example, proficiency with martial weapons would, at level 20, make a regular longsword hit for 1d8 plus 6d6 slashing. Of course, he misunderstood how creature stat blocks work too. So their stat bonus would also be included in the number of d6 they roll, in addition to the regular bonus. All this also had the effect of massively slowing down the game, as we'd be rolling 1,000,000 dice for each action. Especially more so with the fighter, with their full round of attacks, plus action surge, plus an additional full round of attacks, because people don't know how the haste spell works. All this really came to a head when the DM forced a magic item on my character, which changed my alignment from lawful neutral to chaotic evil, and made me attack the party. I didn't even have a chance to save against the curse, it just happened. The whole table complained about that, so the DM relented and made me roll a wisdom saving throw, which I was proficient in. I rolled mid-40s, failed because the DC was 50. The DM would text me instructions such as who to attack or hurt, including myself. I swiftly ended combat by using a bonus action and taking a point of exhaustion, just to use the DM's broken piece of shit homebrew spell to double the next spell damage I do. Then use Psychic Scream as an action, targeting the party, including myself. I'm sure, raw, you can't do this, but we were so far past that point. This should have killed my PC outright, but because the DM won't let us off his wild ride, damn you, Mr. Bones, my PC lives on. Except he has no memory about himself, his backstory, his proficiencies, how to cast spells, or how to use class features or racial bonuses. My Pact of the Tome Warlock was basically stuck as a level 0 NPC, and that's where the campaign ended. The point of all this is that bounded accuracy is really important for gameplay balance, and anyone who thinks otherwise isn't worth playing with. Also, I'm actually surprised the PC even knew that they could breathe, tie their own shoes, walk in a straight line, and possibly not defecate themselves. All this is quite handy, and the DM left it all in. I think the DM, if they really wanted to hit the point home, would have just basically reduced them to that of a literal carrot. Not DM, but I played an envoy in Starfinder, and the GM wanted me to roleplay out all my ability checks. Not that role-playing is bad, of course, but it became a game of, if your ability to improv isn't good enough, you can't use your character's abilities. That crap never makes sense to me, since you don't have to act out any other abilities from other classes, but somehow me saying, I use get 'em on that guy, means I have to come up with some witty way of inspiring my allies or I lose my turn? That was just bullshit. Commentary time. This is kind of the rule that makes sense if the group wants to play out those things, or if the DM says something like, you can roll the check, but if you role play out the scene, you might get advantage on the roll depending on how you play it out. But to enforce that on all the time and punish your players for not doing so, that's just not cool, dude. Milestone leveling, dun dun dun. But level ups are character-based and not party-based. So our PCs would level up individually upon reaching certain backstory objectives, and there would be a level up scene where we would get visions of our new abilities or flashbacks from the past or whatever. Yes, the DM was a huge weeb. No, it was not well executed, and yes, this covered what we were all thinking immediately. He really liked my character for some reason, so he showed pretty clear favoritism towards leveling her up. At one point, I was level 4 when everyone else was level 2. Right now I'm level 5, while 3 of the 4 of the other people are still level 4, I'm pretty sure. All this shoehorned into water-deep dragon heist, so it's a constant distraction from the main plot. Just so nobody gets the wrong idea, the DM is a real-life friend of mine and he's a complete sweetheart. He's not doing this with any sort of perverse intention, and the campaign is fun otherwise. I just disagree with one of his rulings. Now, because this commentary section is really funny to me, and the note is funny, I'm going to read the note too, just for all of you boys and girls and everyone in between at home. The commentary note says, be playful and a little sarcastic, so all of you get playful, sarcastic Brian for this. OP, I hate to tell you this, but yeah, that's a textbook case of somebody showing clear favoritism to the character because they, I don't know, like the player, maybe? Who knows? Maybe this could lead to something between the two of you, but what do I know? I'm not Cupid or anything. Where's my little bow at again? Hold on. Casting a spell, regardless of the class, had the chance to trigger wild magic. DM would roll in secret both for the chance to proc and the resulting magic surge, but never revealed the method behind the roll. It got to the point where it basically confirmed what we all suspected, that one character in particular had plot armor after they just so happened to snag the reincarnate yourself result. Twice after 2 separate deaths. They also super conveniently came back as their character's original race. Huh, who would have known? The DM eventually dropped that roll, but my god was it aggravating trying to cast a cantrip in a roleplay moment and trigger a surge out of the blue. And with most of the party having access to magic in some form or another, it was just constantly going off. Flanking, oh no. I was playing a fighter with the Shield Master feat. I basically just stopped using it. It was irrelevant. I had advantage on every attack I ever made. So did my allies. So did the enemies. Every attack was made with advantage. Our bard gave up casting Fairy Fire. After the first combat, our cleric never cast another Guiding Bolt. Nobody even bothered using a help action, or grappling, or shoving an enemy prone. Nobody got creative because it just wasn't worth it. Combat was just move into flank, attack with advantage, repeat forever. The end! I can only imagine how awful it would have been for a barbarian PC, so eventually I just went to my DM and said, I know you like flanking and we're using it this campaign, but I'm just not going to use it myself anymore. Feel free to still use it against me though. And lo and behold, I started having fun in combat again. I actually used my feat. I started trying more creative things. I climbed large enemies, I tripped small ones, I grappled monsters and pushed them out windows. And after a few fights like that, my DM said, okay, if you're not using flanking, then I won't give monsters a bonus for flanking you, which is kind of nice. Honestly, not using flanking has been really freeing. And after starting a new campaign, none of the group is using flanking anymore. We don't miss it. Critical misses causing full damage to a nearby ally. Oh, that's such a dumb frickin' thing to do. I tend to roll low, and I, one time, got a nat 1 with a hard-hitting spell. I was playing a sorcerer. The rule at the time was that critical misses caused ranged attacks to hit nearby allies. After that, I stopped using attacks roll spells and used almost exclusively saving throw spells. Whenever I did use attacks range spells, I would get up in front so I wouldn't risk hitting my party. On the rarest occasion, my spell would backfire and cause me damage on a nat 1, but I preferred that over hitting party members. I don't know how my sorcerer survived so long. Since the whole group adopted this rule and we all took turns DMing, I stuck with this playstyle whenever I used spellcasters. The rule was not intended to pair with nat 20s on risk-reward, but was just weighted heavily against mages. No nat 1 weapon breaking for melee, of course, and has long since been discarded by the entire group. And good riddance to it. Hey everybody, Brian Von VA here checking in after the vid. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to ring that bell, and of course, leave a comment down below talking about a rule that your DM enforced that basically screwed the fun right out of your game. Now, of course, that could be anything in the whole world, but we do want to read it, so comment down below. You can also do it on our subreddit, r/MrRipper, but the comment section, that really helps with the blood gods of the algorithm lords, so please do. Also, if you want to come say hi to me, Brian Von VA, you can do so by looking in the description. There's my website that lets you see all about my voice acting career, and at the very bottom, my socials. I'm very active on Twitter, Twitch, and on Discord, so come say hi. I love you all. I want to meet all of you, and on that note, quite literally, what I want to say is I am excited to meet all of you. I have been growing as a voice actor and narrator for a while. I'm not like a super popular voice actor, but I'm big enough to now start maybe going to conventions little by little to have conversations with people about narrating, about how I got into MrRipper's work, or some of the various things that I do, including streaming. And I get to meet people like you. Yes, you, boys, girls, and everyone in between. I get to meet you. I do it on my stream now where I get to talk to fans of MrRipper who said, oh, I heard you while listening to somebody in math class talking, or you'll be at like a doctor's exam hearing my voice. That to me is awesome, and I want to meet all of you and talk to all of you about the most random of stuff, as long as it's not like too crazy. So that said, I love you all. Please be safe, happy, and healthy, and I can't wait to see all of you soon. Toodaloo for now.